Hey everybody, this is Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design. Today we're talking about a very special and successful collaboration where design and sports meet head-to-head. And it's the perfect match where both come out winners. The project? The interiors of the crowning gem in the Mission Bay neighborhood of San Francisco. Yes, I'm talking about the Chase Center, made possible by the incredible design collaboration with Gensler, Williams-Sonoma, and the beloved Golden State Warriors. We're so excited. So first we have Rick Welts, the President and Chief Operating Officer of the Golden State Warriors. Rick, we are so excited to have you join us today. It's not the most usual thing, so this is very exciting.
Well, yeah, with this kind of design talent, I'm very nervous. So.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. We'll help you through.
Okay.
Okay, then we've got Monica Bhargava. Monica is the Executive Vice President of Product Design and Development for Williams Sonoma. Monica, I am super happy to see you.
I am delighted to be here, especially with the gang. I mean, I haven't seen everyone in so long, so it's so fabulous.
Well, I mean, any day with Monica is a wonderful day, but it's been, you know, she's the magic princess who made this all work. And,
a magic princess. Wow, we're really starting off high, Monica. Okay, and then we have Jonathan Emmett, Principal and Design Director at Gensler Sports. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, nice to see you today.
It's great to see you. And then we also have Edith Ponciano. She's the Associate and Senior Interior Designer for Gensler Sports. Hey, team. We do have a team, Rick.
we do. I put it up against anybody.
Yeah, I love that. Tell us what the catalyst was to building a new home for the Golden State Warriors.
The Warriors were playing in Oakland, an arena we loved, but also was the oldest arena in the NBA. People don't realize that, older than Madison Square Garden in New York City. And a wonderful place to watch a basketball game, but not a wonderful place to complete that experience for fans. And so Joe Lyko and Peter Guber bought the team almost 10 years ago now. And the pitch to me was you're going to get an opportunity to build an arena using everything that you've ever learned about presenting our sport, and we're going to try to do it in San Francisco. It was audacious. It was a crazy dream, but the whole idea was to create San Francisco's first world-class arena, first in its history, and set the Warriors franchise up for success for decades to come. So a big vision, impossible to do in a city like San Francisco, impossible to do 100% privately financed with no public money. So it was a big dream, but these are some of the people that really made it come true.
I mean, it must have been exciting to, like, in some ways get out of your world a little bit and move over into the design world, right?
Thrilling. Like it was, you know, it was every day for 5 years, but the thrill never ended, right?
I love that. I love that. So what was your vision for this project?
Big. We wanted people to look at this as best in the world. And it had to exceed everybody's expectations. We tried to take the best of everything we've learned from any other similar facility, but make it work for San Francisco in a way that it can only be here. And, you know, that meant, you know, the architecture, that meant the interior design, but it also meant the level of finish, the different products that we offered. We have a unique place in the world. There's nothing like it, and this building had to be reflective of that.
Absolutely. Okay, so Gensler, you guys get the job. So tell us how, first of all, a big gig, right? It must have been really, really exciting, especially, you know, since it's your love, right? Golden State Warriors. How did you then connect with William Sonoma, and how did that relationship start?
Well, just to sort of back up and to reaffirm what Rick said a little bit, I mean, just the vision for this project from day one from Rick and from Peter and Joe and the rest of the executive team was just incredible, and something we were just incredibly excited to be a part of. But as you know, with Gensler being a firm that was founded right down the street,
right,
you know, by Art Gensler, I mean, this was an absolutely incredible opportunity for us as a firm, and even for Art personally, to really be involved in bringing this amazing project to to life within the city of San Francisco and within the Bay Area. So, you know, I think that's something that we all have in common, right? Everyone on the phone. I think William Sonoma, you know, bringing that local presence as well. It's something that we all felt, you know, we could really bring the best of our talents together, but it meant something to us as firms and businesses within the community to work with the Warriors on this incredible project.
Right, Monica, you were down the block too, right?
Absolutely. We're just a stone's throw away.
Unbelievable. I sort of, like, I have chills just thinking about that. And that does, as you said, Jonathan, that does mean a lot. So tell us how you started this relationship with William Sonoma.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jonathan touched on it a little bit. I think, you know, the fact that, you know, both Gensler and William Sonoma were both, you know, kind of local to San Francisco made it extremely convenient. But it really, you know, was a partnership that the Golden State Warriors also had with them. And so all three of us together, you know, it really made the vision come to life. So I think the convenience of everyone being located there, you know, just made, you know, decisions, meetings, making the design really come to life that much quicker. So it really was a seamless process.
Okay, Monica, I have to ask you about this. So I understand that originally Gensler came to you, it was maybe going to be not for the entire project. And I understand there was a mock-up room and something called Project Blue.
Yes, we coded it as Project Blue because when we met with Rick, we were going to play the color blue, which was the Golden State Warriors' signature color, really hard. And so we decided a code word for the entire project to keep it, you know, succinct. We kept it as Project Blue. And I have to tell you, there was so much excitement around this project, Cindy. Yeah. And when Rick and team came over and spoke about it, everyone wanted to work on it. So that was a way for us to keep it really kind of very secret.
Wait, Rick, did you know that there was this code, Project Blue?
Well, eventually, but you know, they're pretty good at keeping secrets. But Cindy, I would say one of the things that made this work, like we're not really about the resumes. The commitment from the top of both of these organizations was extraordinary. You know, from Laura Alber at WSI, you know, Art Gensler himself. This was a project important to our city, right? And it would live for decades. These things are not sports arenas. These are places where memories are created for generations to come. Cindy, what was the very first concert that you saw?
Oh, James Taylor.
Where were you?
In New York.
Where?
Madison Square Garden. Yeah, so you remember it.
And 99 out of 100 people can answer that question because what happens in these buildings really is part of our lives and shapes us in ways that very few other things do.
Right, I get it. Well, so the one thing that is a little bit surprising on the design side, that's an amazing story that happened right here, is that Gensler folks, you answer this. Like, you wouldn't necessarily, first of all, go to just one vendor, and also you wouldn't necessarily think of Williams Sonoma as doing the kind of custom work and the kind of collaboration that actually ended up happening.
No, absolutely. I mean, this is a very unique process and situation for us. I'll speak for Edith and myself. I don't think we've ever been involved in a project where we've worked so closely with one vendor to deliver so many spaces and so many design concepts. There's such a variety within this building, a variety of experiences, a variety of spaces, a variety of styles. And I think at first, quite frankly, we were a little hesitant and wondered if one vendor could truly bring not one vision to life, but bring a dozen different visions to life. Right. You know, and I think that's something that we really pride ourselves on in the design of these buildings. That, you know, we really try to create unique spaces that are really catered and tailored to an individual guest experience, a certain fan experience. Everybody's looking for something different, a little bit unique within these spaces. And so when we approach those, obviously we're looking for variety. We're looking for that diversity of offering, diversity of feeling within a space. And so, yeah, that was certainly something that we were maybe a little concerned about. Could one vendor help us bring that to life? And Edith can get into a little bit more of the detail, but needless to say, I think that's one of the things that we've been so incredibly pleased with in terms of this collaboration that was able to happen.
Well, Monica, tell us first about, in that mock-up room, you just went all out, right?
So here's what, it was interesting. When I heard about it, it was a very different project for my team and myself to embrace because, few people know this, but Williams-Sonoma's brands, we design over 90% of our products in-house, right? And so we've got a design team that is absolutely skilled at furniture, dinnerware, you name it, textiles, all of it. So designing a product and putting it into a home space or a space that has all the products like that of a home or interior space is very natural for us to develop and build. And when this project came our way, we wanted to really show to both Gensler as well as, of course, Rick and his entire group that we were capable of doing the diversity of product and the diversity of style. So we set up this mock-up fake room called the Project Blue Room, and we invited everybody to come see the vision and the diversity of product. And that's how that started. And then, of course, Gensler had done amazing designs that we then adopted and built into the spaces as we progressed in the project.
Yeah, so Edith, was that sort of surprising when you get to this mock-up room and it's like, oh my God, every attention to detail is here and much more than we had expected?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think, they really went all out because, as Monica mentioned, it wasn't just, their furniture, but it was down to the textiles, it was down to the rugs, to the lighting, pillows, dinnerware. They even embedded the logo in the glassware. So it was, every little detail was really thought out, and we were, really pleasantly surprised by it.
Monica, I had to check my backpack as I was leaving because I was trying to stuff all these wonderful things in my backpack when I left.
Wait, Rick, so were you excited about that?
Well, it's just so cool.
Yeah.
This is what we live every day, and to see, the energy and creativity to bring your brand to life is thrilling, right? And
Yes.
and to have so many talented, smart people focused on it and doing things that we could never have imagined or been creative enough to do is, I guess that's the magic of why it works.
Yeah, absolutely. I was curious, as for you, Rick, is like, so what is that like? You're working with this amazing design team at the same time you're leading a championship NBA franchise. Like, it's sort of like, how do you do that?
I do not recommend it. All right. So it's really hard unless you've been a part of a sports organization to understand the effort that you're asking your people to make to go to the NBA finals. You play a whole season, go through all the playoffs, go to the NBA finals, not once, twice, 3, 4, 5 consecutive years while
Amazing.
This project was going on. Everyone had 2 jobs. They had the job they had to get done to make our basketball game experience as great as it could be, but they had a second job. Everyone had a job related to building a brand new arena. So it was hard. I mean, I won't kid you. There were it was really hard for our staff, but at the same time, the carrot that was at the end there was so magnificent that I think everyone could get up every morning and be thrilled to think they were going to be a part of creating this.
Yeah, for sure. And yes, you cannot get away from pain with design, but usually on the other side, it's much, much better. All right. So Jonathan, this was a very big project. So tell us about the scope of how big it was.
So, I mean, any sports project is a big project. I mean, when we're dealing with an NBA arena, when you're talking about putting 18,000, 20,000 people in a building, I mean, these are large buildings, but I mean, in terms of square footage, I mean, compared to an office building, it's not out of the question in terms of the scale, but it's that diversity of the spaces within this building that is, incredibly unique to the building type. And quite frankly, I think the Warriors pushed this beyond anything that's been done before in terms of the diversity within the project. So, this isn't about designing one space or designing 2 or 3 different spaces. This is about designing 30, 40 different spaces, and it has everything in it. We're not talking just clubs and suites. We're talking restaurants, bars, other amenities, concourses, the grand lobby spaces, which are two of my favorite spaces in the building are just spectacular civic spaces, quite frankly. But then we start to look at the idea the team offices are in here, the practice facility is in here. So it's an incredibly diverse building with a lot of different users, different user groups and experiences within it. And quite frankly, that's the beauty and the challenge as a designer to get to work in that diverse setting. But at the same time, it all has to come together as a cohesive whole. It can't feel like it's a collection of 20 or 30 different spaces that were designed at different times by different people. There has to be something that brings that together. And Rick talked about it earlier on. It has to embody the spirit of the Warriors organization, but it also had to embody San Francisco and the Bay Area in a very sophisticated way as well, and bring that feeling of community to the guests.
Yeah, and Edith, tell us specifically what some of those spaces were, like the Courtside Lounge is one. Give us the other areas.
Sure. Yeah. There's such a big diversity. So, if we start from the bottom of the building, you have these Courtside Lounges, which are, private suites. And what makes them so unique is that they're, kind of underground. You have your own private kind of bunker suite with a media wall that really is showcasing what you would see from your courtside seat. So you have the ability to watch the game from your own suite or go to your courtside seat. So you really have a lot of flexibility. They have their own bar located there, food display. So they really have all sorts of amenities within their suite. And then they have a wine vault that is really an amenity for all the suite holders. So, they each have the ability to have their own wine refrigerator with a wine tasting table that is really a one-of-a-kind piece with a live edge, custom tabletop. And then, you move up to the building, you have a bunch of different suites. We have the theater boxes, which, to me, it's one of my favorite spaces because it really, you could really be within the club, and it's kind of dark and moody, has this Art Deco feel. And then when you want to go watch a game or a concert, you go to your loge box seat. And those are, really beautiful custom chairs that William Sonoma also provided. And you really feel like you're just in this very sophisticated lounge chair versus just sitting in a standard stadium seat. So, those are just a few of the spaces. And I feel like, there's just so much more. I could keep going on and on.
Wait, Monica, tell us, because you were telling me that it was super fun to work on the live edge tabletops.
That was a special project. We had to go completely off campus to source these and develop them. And I actually flew to go see the actual wood and pick the slabs and make this table happen. So that was an exceptional sort of conversational piece that we had all collaborated to build on. So I enjoyed that part. But what was really the most fun to do was the diversity of spaces that Jonathan has mentioned earlier, and the vision that Rick and Joe all had for this amazing one-of-a-kind arena, first of its kind ever, to have a level of luxury that was going to be accessible, but still speak to the ethos of what the Warriors and the Chase Center and all of basically San Francisco embodies. And so to get that level of luxury, we did some really high-end whimsical things. The taste level was amazing from everybody on the team that allowed you to really dream and build. So we had this amazing metal occasional table in the courtside suites that Edith mentioned, and that was reminiscent of a sequoia tree, a redwood tree, really pretty. So we did that. We had cashmere throws, and I can't help but hold it up because here
I want to say, oh, gorgeous.
So this is the Equestrian cashmere throw from Williams-Sonoma Home, and we did this really chic jacquard logo in it, right? So everything was very subtle and chic, and we went with a color palette that was a last-minute pivot, if everybody recalls that.
Okay, so Rick, tell us the "we're not doing blue" story.
I can't do it justice. Monica is the only one who can tell the story. She's the only one.
Okay, Monica, it's all yours.
It's all of us together, but I have to say that, we were all marching down the path of the Project Blue with all our blues and grays. And we had our final meeting, and Rick was there, and so was Joe and Nicole, and it was the final sign-off. Edith was there with us, and we We're all ready to go. And all of a sudden there was a pivot because there was this beautiful Williams-Sonoma Aldous rug that was charcoal black and ivory. And Joe and Nicole responded to that in a big way. And they wanted to shift to that color palette. And that meant that we were, and not only that, we wanted to now put engineered rugs that were the actual Aldous rug in every space that we were going to be using running yardage in. So it was a very interesting pivot. We all sort of took a big, deep breath after that meeting. And I remember having a conference call, all of us going, are we really going charcoal gray and ivory?
Tell everybody out there who Joe is and Nicole.
Okay. So Joe is the chairman and primary owner of the Warriors, put together the group that bought the Warriors. I call his wife, Nicole, our CTO, our Chief Taste Officer. And she lives up to every bit of the billing in terms of really having, you know, exquisite taste, and was a big influence on the project. And formed this amazing partnership, especially with Monica on the furnishings, that really was unique and special, I think, to this. But it clearly is reflected in the final product. And there were some twists and turns, and I know Monica was never worried about whether everything was going to get delivered on time for opening night. She never worried for a moment about any of that. So those were her sleepless nights. All Nicole and Joe had to do is say, yeah, let's pivot colors. Let's just change those.
But you were also saying, Monica, that they were thinking, okay, so I always think of Genslers like amazing, right? They can do brand like nobody can do brand. They are unbelievable. And so you think branding, let's do blue for the Golden State Warriors. Now, you all, Joe, Rick, you guys were thinking, well, there's going to be other events besides that there, right?
Yeah.
And
no,
so you,
of course. Yeah.
yeah, so you were thinking that maybe we shouldn't go kind of thematic with the blue, right, Monica? Is that kind of what happened?
That's where it happened. And I have to give a lot of kudos, like Rick did, to Nicole. And she's got amazing taste, and she was a wonderful partner, collaborative, fun. And when we made that pivot, it was really based on that this arena is going to be used for a lot more than just sports games. And so how do we make it really super chic and not predictable? And there was a level that she wanted to take it to that really opened up for all of us, you know, Gensler, for the Chase team, Warriors team, and for us at Williams-Sonoma, a whole new way of thinking. And at that minute, we all just said, okay, we're going to run fast, but we're going to chase the extraordinary. And we're going to do everything completely and entirely different. When you have the power of 8 different brands with you, the answer is always yes, we can. So whatever your dream is, you say, yes, we can.
Right, Monica, so tell everybody, because you actually used 8 different brands for this project, right?
Yes, we used Williams-Sonoma Home for a lot of the upholstery and furnishings, and the rug was, the Aldous rug was the impetus for all of that. All the cashmere came from there. The accessories and the Welts chairs and things like that came from Pottery Barn. Then we had, like in the restaurants, we used the West Elm Slope chair. In the family area for the teams, we used PB Kids and PB Teen. You know, we used that product. We had Rejuvenation for the Cobb bar stool that we used in another space. So it was really a blend. I mean, I had Mark and Graham for like giftables and clear trays. So we used every single one of our 8 brands to make this amazing vision that was so diverse. Jonathan's spoken to it, Edith has spoken to it. And our role was really to provide and build it and make it the vision what everyone wanted it to be. And I think we had a lot of fun at the end. I believe that when that excitement and that adrenaline kicks in and you're like, I've got to deliver this, we all did this together. And there were sleepless nights and there were crazy calls where the rug wasn't matching up and oh my God, we're going to make it. We made it.
Yeah, absolutely. Wait, Jonathan, as a designer, and Edith too, as a designer, were you surprised at that what Williams-Sonoma could do just in terms of the breadth of the product? I would think that was sort of an education.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it was definitely surprising. But I think, again, once they showed us that Project Blue room, I mean, that really showed us their capabilities. And even within that room, you guys were showing a bunch of different brands. So for us, you know, that was just really a great starting point. And the fact that they could customize some of their products to really fit into our spaces with not just the dimensions, but down to, you know, the finishes, the fabrics, you know, adding any kind of embedded logos. I thought that was also a really nice touch.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you think of the Chase Center big, like the scale is so big, and yet you're talking about, you know, a small logo embedded into a cashmere throw. Don't you love that?
Yeah.
That's design, Rick. That's design.
I think that's what sets this project apart from many of the other sports projects that we've worked on, and quite frankly are out there around the leagues. I think that attention to detail, you know, not only that came from the design team in Williams-Sonoma, but I think from the Warriors themselves. I mean, that was the expectation, that every single item within this building, every experience within this building would be curated. And I think that shines through not only in terms of the design of the spaces and the products within the spaces, it comes down to the staff and the way the building is operated and run. It's that entire hospitality experience that really comes to life. And I think that really is something that's very, very unique to this organization and building.
Absolutely. So Rick, let's talk a little bit more about that. How has the design of all these new spaces helped to drive a really great guest experience?
Well, you know, you talk to our staff, that's the very first thing that is the goal every morning, you know,
right.
is looking at everything we do through the eyes of our guests, and making sure that the decisions we make and how we present ourselves, how we show up every day, provides the best possible experience. And, you know, when you have the place that we have to do that, you know, I love Jonathan talking about the grand lobby, which is something that I fought for forever. It's very hard and expensive and takes a lot of space, but it is such an amazing welcome to the building, and feels in the moment of being like such a scene setter for what you're going to experience in every aspect of what happens. So you probably wouldn't expect in a sports arena to see a huge Calder sculpture mobile hanging from the ceiling in your main lobby through a partnership with SF MoMA. That's unexpected. And the finishes, everything that the fan experiences, whether you're going to a concert or going to a game, is special and different than what they've experienced before. And that differentiation, you know, is led by the physical experience that they have, the things that they see and the things that they touch. And it makes a difference in how they feel about attending the event.
Yeah. So what does it mean to the Warriors?
Well, I think, you know, we have been lucky enough to be a championship organization in 3 out of the last 5 years. And that's our aspiration, right? That's how we want to be seen. And we want I want people to know that the experience they're going to have attending a Warriors game or going to Chase Center and attending a concert is going to be one of those memories that they're going to have, an experience that they're going to have. And it's certainly influenced by whatever the performance is that happens there. But it's not, that's a part of it. That's not all of it. You take away 100 other different impressions from the time you arrive to the time you leave that have you creating in your mind what the Warriors are. And these are the people who created so much of that image, so much of that experience.
Yeah, Jonathan, you work on other, sporting kinds of projects. What was like, I mean, you guys have all said it in a way, but like, what was the most unique part of this project?
Well, I think we touched on it a few times, but I think, yes, this is the home of the Golden State Warriors, but I think from the beginning, this was really seen as being a give back to the city and the community. This wasn't just about the Warriors as a team, as a brand, as an organization. This was really something bigger. And not every team thinks that way. Not every ownership group thinks that way. And I think that was something that really, intrigued us, interested us, and got us excited from day one on this project. And it was something that was resonated and reminded every single meeting, every single call, this was about something bigger than just the team and the organization. Right. And I think that has made its way through the large spaces, but it's also made its way, like we've talked about, down to that detail, whether it was about a detail about a piece of furniture or, the silverware in the space, or whether it's about the food and beverage offerings within the space, or it's about the way that the employees are dressed or greeting the guests as they're walking in the building. Every single little detail really makes this a project that is of the city and for the city, and not just about the team. And that was just an incredible and a pretty unique experience within the sports world.
What did Art Gensler say?
Art was amazed. I mean, Art's been a great champion in terms of the sort of sports projects that we've worked on over the years. He's a big sports fan. He in his earlier days, he played a few sports as well. But
he's a tall guy. He's a tall guy.
Yes, he was actually a rugby player, though, surprisingly, not a basketball player.
Interesting.
But, yeah, but to build a project like this in his backyard was truly a remarkable experience for him to see that come to life. And again, not just because it was about the team, because it was about giving back to his city, and I think that was an incredible thing for him.
I was talking to Monica yesterday, and there are a lot of people in this project. It takes a lot to get something like this done. And collaborations can start a certain way and end another way. And yet all I've heard have been, positivity, positivity, positivity. So having a great collaboration is so tricky to do. Monica, why do you think it ended in such a good way?
I think it started with a great point of view and a lot. I keep saying passion and the desire to create something that no one had done before, which that vision came from the Warriors team. And I feel like they set that bar so high, and Gensler had already built such an amazing vision to deliver that. So we all were driven by that same level of professionalism, desire to excel and build this dream. And when you're building is a positive thing to do, and creating is a positive thing to do. So, I mean, how lucky are we that we're all getting to collaborate on something that's one of a kind? So I think the desire was just to create and deliver and, make that dream come true.
Sometimes when designers are done with a project, they're on to the next project. It sounds like you're happy there for a while, huh?
We're going to be here for a while, and that it's going to be a gift that still people are going to learn about, right? Because we had 6 months, and then we had to tell everybody to go home, and we haven't had an audience in Chase Center for 6 months. So I can't tell you how excited we are and how we're working every day to talk about how we're going to bring people back. And we're using this time to do a lot of things that we can't talk about yet because they haven't been announced at Chase Center, because we're trying to improve it even in this crazy time that none of us can go experience an event. So I will say, Cindy, you clearly weren't in all the budget meetings when you described how perfectly everything went. Okay?
They're not telling me about that part,
Okay.
Rick.
I'll tell you the truth. No, it's actually very, very instructive, because there were 200 times in this project where we got to a point where, here was the vision, here's what it would take to deliver the vision, here's what would cost a little less, and here's what would actually be in our budget. And those meetings were extraordinary because we never wavered from building the building that we wanted to build. It's why it's the most expensive building ever constructed, and probably triple our original budget when we started out on this project. But everyone looks at it today and said we did the right thing.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, when I think about sports, I think about pride, right? And now you have a home that everyone can be so proud of, that's completely aligned with how elevated the Golden State Warriors are. And so it's going to be so exciting, as you say, to have everybody back, right?
Yes. Can't wait.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you. It's been so much fun. First of all, William Sonoma, what an amazing gift for even for our good friends at Gensler to really be able to work on a project together like this. And Jonathan and Edith, thank you so much for being such an extraordinary part of this project. Monica, you are unbelievable. Monica was talking all about you, Rick. So we're going all around in circles. But I do want to thank you all for an amazing collaboration to a team that's beloved to so many and to so many championships. Design is about winning, all right? Thank you all. Rick, it's really been a pleasure since I don't get to ordinarily talk to somebody like you, but I feel the kinship and the love.
You're an awesome host.
Oh, thank you. Monica, what were you saying about him last night?
Well, here was my words. I said, anybody who meets Rick loves Rick.
There you go. And I said, could I say that? And she said, yes.
Totally. But it is such a special project, and thank you. And thank you, Cindy, for this platform, for all of us to get together and see each other. And I want to just also take this minute to say this is about a giant team that I get to represent that helped this come true for Williams-Sonoma. So I am in a terrific position of strength because there are so many people making this happen in our organization.
Lots of love, and get everybody back in there when you can. And God bless everybody. Let's get to the other side of this, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much. Great seeing you all.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Helene Oberman, Managing Director of Interior Design Magazine, and I'd like to welcome you to Product Live. This is our series that delves into the products and trends grabbing the industry and in real time looking at the minds behind the design. At Williams-Sonoma Inc, they are dedicated to transforming spaces through the best in design and quality. Since entering the contract market in 2015, their in-house design and engineering teams have been collaborating to elevate their products to standards. And with 8 different brands, yes, that's 8 different brands at their fingertips, they have a specialized team to help support your design business and work with you to create solutions tailored to your project needs, no matter the scale, from, let's say, a ground-up basketball stadium to perhaps a local restaurant in your very own backyard. With me today to discuss the launch of their latest B2B product that spans 3 WSI brands is Paulo Kos, Vice President of Design for Business to Business. Welcome, Paulo.
Thank you.
Paulo, before we begin, it may be helpful to educate our audience about the contract capabilities of Williams-Sonoma and really to break that mindset that you're just a retail brand.
Absolutely. What we do on my team is that we are a small design team that's focused entirely on commercial and contract spaces. So we're kind of, in addition to the brand designers that are working on the stuff for the retail product that you see on the websites. And so what we do is we both design specific products like the ones that we're going to be talking about today for our line, but then we also work very closely with designers who might be working on projects, large, hotel projects, for example, that have a certain minimum quantity that we can hit, and we're either doing custom product for them or we're modifying product from one of our brands for their needs.
And you, heading it up, have sort of created your very own team, right? That's dedicated to this like commercial world that's somewhat separate from what's happening sort of on the residential retail side.
That's right. We're kind of this little satellite off to the side. I'm very lucky in that I have a great team working with me across all different functions. And we kind of work side by side with all of the different brands. So it's a lot of fun because we get to work with West Elm, and then we get to work with Pottery Barn and Williams-Sonoma Home. So yes, what we're doing is we're kind of working in tandem with them. Their design teams are focused specifically on the retail product that you see on the website. And then what we're looking at is where are the holes of product that, are really integral to commercial spaces. And we're kind of designing into them for those brands.
And you have the ability to work with designers on products really for various scale projects, from the very large. I know we had a recent conversation with some folks from Williams-Sonoma about a new basketball stadium, but also for much smaller scale projects.
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes we'll have people come to us to help them with their, 6-room boutique hotel, or maybe it's a cafe or restaurant. But then, like, as you mentioned, we've worked on large scale stadiums. We're currently bidding a soccer stadium somewhere. So it's a lot of fun for me because it's a lot of different types of spaces, and it just goes to show how versatile the product is.
So we're actually here today because you have a new product, a banquette, that the company has designed across 3 of your brands. So Williams-Sonoma Home, West Elm, and Pottery Barn. So what is the impetus for designing a single product type across several different brands?
Well, we wanted to leverage the varied aesthetics of all the different brands to kind of create unique solutions for different instances. So if a client is looking for something more modern and minimal, we have the Garbo banquette that works in that instance. Or if somebody's looking for something a little bit more vintage or traditional, classic, we have the Hayworth, and then we have the
Novak, right?
Thank you.
Welcome.
And then we have the Novak, which is more mid.
Not forget the great Novak for West Elm.
Right, and then we have the Novak, which was inspired by mid-century influences.
So was this your first product that you actually designed across brand, or have you done previous ones?
It's the first time that we've taken one product category, designed them across the 3 brands, and launched them at the same time as one big program. We have in the past designed our restaurant tables for West Elm, and we're currently working with some of the other brands to create their versions so that we have, again, a big system that offers different aesthetics to different clients.
So what was the inspiration then for deciding to launch this sort of cross-brand product promotion with a banquette?
Well, it was just really trying to create unique solutions for everyday problems for designers out there who are trying to create, different spaces. So what we wanted to do was create 3 unique solutions for different problems. For example, with Hayworth, what we wanted to do was create something that was a solution for somebody maybe looking for a more classical location, or maybe a more contemporary spin on a vintage inspired location. So we took inspiration from Chesterfield sofas and created a very deep tufted back cushion. We kept the seat cushion smooth for ease of cleaning, because we're always thinking about operational problems. And so with that one, we added the turned legs as a nice design feature at the bottom. And of course, added the integrated power, which was a key element of each of the designs from the beginning.
And then, so what would someone be looking for in terms of the Garbo for Williams-Sonoma Home?
And then for Garbo, we really wanted something that was super sleek, modern, minimal, that could really kind of go anywhere. I mean, with this one, you can kind of, put it in a really elegant suede or mohair velvet, and create a very luxe experience. Or you could put, a red vinyl and put it in a diner. So you can dress it up and you can dress it down. It's extremely versatile, again, with the power in the plinth base. And lastly, we have the Novak, and that one was probably the more, I would say, fashion forward of the 3, because it's got the expressed angled legs at the bottom, which were influenced by mid-century, and then the long horizontal tuft along the back. And that one was for somebody who maybe wants a little more look than the other ones, but still simple enough that it can kind of go anywhere and really match back to a lot of tables and chair solutions.
I'm actually curious if so who's the one that's coming up with these names associated with the products? And Did they sort of address the personality of each one?
So we had a conversation about this a while back when we started launching products, and we really wanted to make sure that we were kind of creating a cohesive statement. So we decided to, we landed on naming all of the products after Hollywood, old Hollywood stars. So yeah, so what we've done is we've kind of, I have a big list somewhere on my hard drive of old Hollywood names, and I just go back to the well every time we're about to launch something and feel like I just try to pair the piece with whichever name feels right.
Well, I think each one has their own little bit of glamour, like the Hollywood stars that they represent.
That's what we were going for.
Yeah. Well, I was curious, where are these pieces being fabricated?
They're actually being fabricated. They're being assembled here in the U.S. in our own Sutter Street upholstery facility that Williams-Sonoma owns in North Carolina.
And it's interesting because while the banquettes are sort of part of the running line for the brands, the products are actually really customizable because you offer so many configurations and fabrics. And, you know, I think it's almost endless, correct?
Yeah, we wanted to be able to make it versatile, but still simple. So each collection comes in 4 simple sizes, basically set around the size of a person. So we have the single, which sits a person, the double, the triple, and then the corner, which itself sits 2 to 3 people, depending on if somebody wants to get wedged in the corner. And so with those 4 simple components, you can really kind of put them together however many ways you want. So they gang together with hardware so that you don't have pieces shifting left to right. And so you can gang them side to side or back to back also to create kind of a booth experience if you wanted to. And as you said, they also come in many different, we have a lot of different fabrics available for them, or they're also available in COM, which further customizes them.
Well, we all know designers, and designers love to customize and really put their own stamp on products that they specify. So I'm sure everyone out there will be excited by it. But, you know, to your point, you said, you know, while a designer can use COM for the banquette, you know, you do offer a large array of contract grain fabrics and textiles that really suit the needs of public space. And I know that with this idea of health and well-being, really, I guess, at the forefront of everyone's mind to have a lot of fabrics that have antimicrobial properties, which I'm sure we're all thinking, let's keep us safe.
Yeah, absolutely. In this day and age, that's very much at the forefront of everybody's mind. Yeah, so as you said, we have a lot of different fabrics. So we have kind of different buckets of fabrics that we offer. So we have the inline residential fabrics, some of which have been tested to contract grade. And so those are available. But then we also have, we've had a collaboration with DesignTV for the past, I'd say 4 years. And so we have a collection with them, which we're working to make available on these. They're not quite available yet, but actually they're available now as COM, but we're working to make them an easier access to this collection. And then, of course, we also have a collection with Culp, which we really kind of relied on their expertise in the industry to kind of make sure that we have high performance fabrics that are really going to pass you know, the needs of these designers. And some of those are bleach cleanable, and some of those do have antimicrobial finishes.
And then obviously continuing with this idea of health and safety and the fact that the banquette comes in these various sizes, a designer can really create a space with smaller groups and social distancing in mind.
Absolutely. You know, as I mentioned, each component is designed to sit 1 or 2 or 3 people specifically. So it really makes it very easy to kind of control how many people you want in one space. So you could take 2 singles and put them face to face and really create a space for just 2 people. These pieces work great in, you know, kind of phone booth applications where people just are sitting alone, or of course you can kind of gang a whole bunch together and make much more of a group experience.
And then, you know, as you're designing the banquette, I mean, how did you ultimately see it being used in what type of spaces?
I mean, really, we wanted to make the most versatile product possible. So we really see them, the obvious place would be in restaurants, of course, because that's typically where you see banquettes. But, you know, we see these being used in anything from bars to doctors' waiting rooms to, you know, co-working spaces, you know, especially because we have the power integrated. We really made sure that that was a key feature because we know that people are working everywhere and anywhere nowadays.
Or at least under normal circumstances.
Yes, when you're allowed back indoors.
Yeah, no, of course. No, I understand that. I mean, it's like you can't go anywhere without this, right? But I'm really curious to know, what is the next piece? So you have this beautiful banquette for the 3 brands, for Williams-Sonoma Home, for West Elm and Pottery Barn. So what is sort of the next venture that you are working on across the brands?
Well, my talented team is currently working very hard on the launch of a bunch of communal tables, which will kind of extend that, that kind of restaurant experience. So we're working on some large-scale dining height tables as well as some bar height tables or standing height tables.
And actually, I'm curious, just how far in advance are you working on your new product introductions?
We're typically about a year out. So right now we're kind of looking into 2021.
And do you find that this specific time period has really affected the way you're looking at different product typologies and what you're working on for sort of the next iteration?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, you can't really come away from the experience we're all living in without thinking about spaces differently. And so it's definitely, you know, shaped the way we look at the products that we're designing. And there are a lot of, you know, considerations that we're thinking about much more, like you said, like cleanability and, you know, just really the performance aspects of these pieces.
Well, it's unfortunate, but like time goes very quickly. So I have to say, Paulo, thank you so much for your time and insight. I know that we all want to be together lounging in one of those banquettes very, very soon in person. And I would love to tell our audience out there, please make sure to check out the WSI B2B website to learn more about the banquette and other contract products from Williams-Sonoma.